fact, if my mom got offered so much money, said, look, you're taking your family there for a year and you're going to spend a year in that country with your whole family. Here's the money to do it. Go and do it. Pick a place and go there. She would have jumped at it. And I'm sure your mom and your family would jump at it too. Said, yeah, why not, man? I'm going to go to wherever. I'm going to chill there for a year. And then you come back.
Nah,
you know what I mean? You just do exchange program. You exchange out. You go there. They come here.
You're forgetting that some people have careers and stuff. And
that's why I say when they're teenagers, when they're young, and not when they're older. You can't get them when they're old. You cannot get them. Like it's too late for us. We're already fixing our ways. We're already this idea. You know, we're just the guys who can hopefully be educated enough to teach the next generation. You know what I mean?
Your signal's in and your signal's up and down. By the way,
can you hear me, man?
Terrible.
Yeah, it's like blurry and that. Does sound like the RoboCop.
It's all right now. It sounded a bit Metal Mickey earlier.
Does it sound like the RoboCop?
No, you don't. No, you sound okay.
Now, I do think that there is some weight in that, man. If I ever get the chance, man, I'm gonna put that to Congress, man. But look, not even Congress. What do we have in Parliament? Because I'm gonna come back to England then and be like, hey, man, World Parliament. Hopefully by then we'll have a world. Hey, just to change the subject a minute. You know, I want to change the subject a minute, just quickly before we wrap up. What is the problem with socialism? Can anyone answer me this?
Well, you can't bring that one up at the end of a show. But
no, I know it's not long.
In what context? In what context are you asking me?
Listen, I ain't got time for that one. I ain't got time for that. I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm a socialist, so I can tell you everything that's right with socialism.
That's what I mean. I'm a socialist too.
Points against
well, I want to know
what context. What context are you asking from, Wayne?
Well, Nigel, I would assume you're more. I don't know if you're socialist or I don't know if you're more into capitalism and stuff or capitalism.
I mean, I'm into me. I'm into me. That's what I'm into.
Okay. So what I'm saying
me and the people around me. Me and the ones I love. That's what I'm into.
When I look around the internet and everyone and like even when they talk about liberalism and stuff like this, they're always like them liberals or them socialists, and I'm like, what is the problem with them, man? To me, when I listen to a socialist idea of the way we can take things forward, it makes more sense. Do you know what I mean? It just makes more sense. So what?
Then you're just gonna get there's people out there, and you know, there's the real reason, and there's the reason that they tell you. So the real reason is people are greedy and they want a system that allows greed and corruption to actually be the system, because that allows them to get ahead, and they know that system. And some people have no problem trampling on somebody to get where they are. So that
happens in all the systems, mate.
I mean, to an extent, but I mean, like, there's one that's like socialism is an actual system that's actually by its nature designed to care for the people first. It's about public service.
The problem with, I'll tell you what the problem with socialism then. I'll tell you what the problem is. Problem with socialism is that the people who administrate it always administrate it wrong. They always think of themselves. They always make sure they've got shoes and food, and everybody else is always then minimised down to the very lowest extent. We'll give you enough to get by, but you ain't going to have enough to get rich. That's the problem with socialism.
That's where we are at the moment.
Never, ever truly equal. None of them are.
Just like communism.
This is what I'm saying. When people go voting and they say, I'm going to vote for these guys because they're going to change my world. They ain't going to change your world. You can change your world. You can change your world. But socialism, capitalism, republicanism, totalitarianism, all them things there, they're all the same size of different coins, man. So someone's in control. Someone's giving you orders, but they're making sure that they're living a better life than you.
So you need centralized government then, and that's what I said. You need
that won't be any better, because there'll still be some people at the top of the food chain. Making sure that we're barely getting by.
I think you vote on every single legislation ever brought in, everything. You go personally to the computer, or you do from your, obviously there's still people who might manipulate, but you go to the computer or the booths and you vote. Everybody votes for everything that comes in. Now to like, if even right down to, should we integrate toilets that wash your bum with the spray, you know, these bidets, these spraying bidets. Even should we install that in every house or not? Even simple like this. Even simple decisions like this. Everyone goes to the voting place and we all want these in our toilets. That's what we want. Wash bidet.
What are we talking food? What are we talking about?
Voting for 3 days.
No, that's what I'm talking. That's what the level. That's what I'm talking about.
What about those guys in Africa who haven't even got a toilet? Never mind the bloody B-Day.
Hey, I don't care what anyone says. At this time in history, there should be nobody without a toilet in the world. There should be nobody, and that's it.
There should be no one without food.
Without
Toilet is a little
food,
bit
toilet,
more-
basic hygiene stuff.
Oh, mate, look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's food and shelter. There's nothing in there to do with toilets. You know what I mean? Food, shelter, warmth.
Clean air,
toilet comes down as toilet comes down as a luxury, man. That's high up the chain.
Come on.
Oh dear. Go, man.
You'd have got to wrap it up, man.
Yeah, okay, man.
I'm sorry, unless you want to carry on, but I'm gonna have to check out in a second.
No, it's okay. Oh wait, does anyone want to do? Did you want to do your prominent figure? Did you want to do one?
Actually, we didn't do one last week, man.
Because we
One was out of order, you know.
Did you want to do one?
Let me see if I can find one.
I thought you had one already.
Can I do? I want to do something a bit left field in that, man, because I feel like it's appropriate when we talk about like people having obviously a lot of there's been a lot of racial tensions and everything. So I think like, you know, I did put a post about the other day, like we want to celebrate everything black. You know what I mean? There's all black presenters on this show. We're talking about black issues, and I think Black Lives Matter is just sort of like obviously highlighting everything that's going on in the black community. But having said that, the fact that there is so many white people joining this cause now, like what seems to be genuine, like outrage, and feel like a lot of people are saying we've been enlightened.
Beautiful,
we've been
man.
enlightened.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of people who've said, I now realise, I didn't realise it was that bad.
Yeah.
And if that is genuine, and I can only like hope that it is, then that's been beautiful. But the couple of acts that I have seen, that I did mention the other day, we had a guy who was, I think he was 90 years old, who apparently took 4 buses to go and join a protest. We had a wave of white people acting as a buffer between riot police and the Black Lives Matter protesters, like black people. And again, this story that I mentioned earlier on with this 75-year-old, a guy, actually, I don't know if I didn't mention him, Martin Gugino, who actually, like I say, for I think 40 years have been fighting against every kind of equality, but racial equality as well. So I think what I wanted to do is like celebrate this 75-year-old who's actually a white man, and honor him today as an honorary black man for standing up for so long for black rights, you know, alongside black people, as we celebrate all the black people as well. I think as well with civil rights, we need to celebrate the people who come before us, like the people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, who had different ideologies, but both tried to get shit done. And that's what we need to do now. Like, this is why I was a bit emotional earlier on when I'm talking about what our role is. Because when we talk about, you know, like what our reality is and what our reality isn't, I think that's where we can kind of look deeper into character. Because if it's not my problem, it's not a problem, is a problem to me. You know, I really, really believe that, because if it's not our problem, then whose problem is it? You know, because there's plenty of black people out there, that is their experience. And you don't need to go far to look for that. You can see it quite evidently. There's people experiencing horrific things. And like I say, you can look at figures and facts and they can go either way. You can paint whatever picture it wants. You just have to look at the reality and what people are saying. And people are saying they're hurting, and people are saying things need to change. So how is it going to change? We need to...
It goes back to that end goal. What is the end goal?
The end goal should be, like I say, equality. People want it, like I say, when you look at the statistics...
We've had a law which has been passed, which apparently gave us equality many years ago. So if that equality wasn't equality, what equality are we looking for?
But there wasn't equality, was there? Because if there was still policing measures that were still actively disproportionately targeting black people. I'm not on about going into black, like just going into black areas. I'm on about the way that when if you was going to get stopped as a white person as a black person, rather than going
is that the main issue then? Is that the main police? It goes back,
at the moment, what's kicking off?
It's going back to authority again, isn't it? It's going back to the police. Not once have I heard anyone say, yeah, let's create a huge fund, pour it into the communities, get some of these guys out of gangs.
Should do.
Get some, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what
I'm not hearing that. All I'm hearing is police. Mate, if the police brutality is the biggest issue that we've got as black people, then we've got big issues.
I actually reject that, to be honest, because I think from the last week alone, you just mentioned earlier on that group, that black owned and stuff, we've got people now who are starting to say, hang on, no, we need to look at supporting our communities ourselves. And then there's a whole heap of initiatives that I've seen just pop up over the last week. And that's what we need to have a look at.
Will they be sustainable?
These incidents that we're talking about, since it's kicked off, since these protests and the way it's been described on TV as riots, people have stopped even saying protests for a while. You have to look into that as well, because there was a faction that was rioting.
I said 2 weeks ago, wanting to start looting and that. What's the news going to be about? It's going to be about the loot.
Of course.
I said that was going to happen.
But listen, the way it is now, we can't keep on pity-pattering and like I say, that video that you didn't watch properly earlier on, but I'd definitely say have a look at it, because you'll show, you see a man being completely subservient, trying to obey the law, obey the law to the letter of the law. He's being very, very timid. He's scared. He's explaining how he doesn't want to die. He's trying to follow the instruction, and the guy mows him down indiscriminately. Now, this isn't one person's experience. You can reel off name after name after name. And, if this is happening in the white community as well, then the white community, in fact, every community should be outraged, because it's a policing problem. It's not a black and white problem in that context, but we're dealing with black lives now. And I'm thinking, like, while this is happening, and people can't just go about their business. People, like I say, and this is what I was trying to get to before, it's not necessarily police going into a hood and targeting black people, even though that is one part of the problem. The problem is you could be out in the middle of the sticks, and that one person who pulls you over is going to handle you completely differently to how he deals with a white person. That's policing. Now let's look at social. Look at the housing projects. Look at the way that's done, completely tied against the black people. We need to find a way of getting people out of these projects and into the suburbs. There's redlining. There's places where they will not be able to get a job. If you're from a certain...
Mate, are you talking about America or England here?
No, I'm talking about... This is where the Black Lives Matter thing at the moment...
You're talking about America then, aren't you?
I'm talking about America because that's where... Yeah. This is all started.
Mate, we're marching in support of George Floyd. We're marching because he was killed by a police officer.
No, I don't think it's actually in support of George Floyd. I think it's in response to brutality.
All right, but in response to brutality. Yeah, okay.
He's the
What do we want from it?
Symbol. Is the symbolic? Yeah, the catalyst or the symbol of it.
He's the martyr, isn't he?
Yeah,
the martyr of the cause. So, but what do we want from all of it? What do we want at the end?
We want to start to get reforms. So, like the things that target black people, the injustices that happen, whether it be policing or whether it be social, whether it be opportunities.
So, okay, give me how does social target black people?
How does what?
Social target black people.
There's many ways. I mean, then look at, like, say, the education sector. Like I say, you got the wrong name, you're not getting in. That's for starters already. Certain areas.
What's that? You got the what? The wrong. Say that again.
If you got the wrong name, you're not getting in. In certain places, people target into universities, higher learning institutions. That happens in this country, and you can check reports on that already.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Bank and even college stuff like university lending practices. Did you know that if a black person was taking out a loan, and this was happening all over, not just in America, I think it was happening here too. But if a black person was taking out a loan from certain areas, he was getting a higher lending rate than the white person.
Yep.
You get a higher lending rate if you've got worse credit.
Yeah, no, I'm not about.
No, it's not like just that.
It was done on a parallel level. It was done on.
The thing is, if me and you went for a loan and your credit is worse than mine, you'll get a higher loan.
No, but it's not about a credit.
It depends where you live, though. It depends where you live. That's what it's saying.
We're classing you as a higher risk because you were black,
and you're from an area where it's obviously everyone's got debt
in general.
Yes. Okay. So how is that connected to the social side of things then?
What do you mean?
Look. Let me answer this. If I wanted to start,
devil's advocate all night.
If I want to pay more for something, and you're having less opportunity to get something, you're going to be born, raised, and you have like places where you are going to have a chance to be raised or not. You know what I mean? If black people are getting, especially like in London, the way London's going, even the way they're clearing out London to make way for rich people.
London's too fucking expensive for anybody.
Starting in places like Tower Hamlets, which is predominantly black neighbourhoods again. So now the
Asian.
Say again.
Asian, Tower Hamlets.
But both, I guess, you know what I mean.
It's got a big Bangladesh community.
but I
The thing is,
in general,
they are dark skinned too, so
I
no one's
class
gonna
them
look
as
at them.
black communities.
Yeah, they're
I class
black,
them as
yeah.
black communities. I'm not, you know, but I'm saying like this is what's happening first, and it's going to be the same, you know, in Brazil when they end up clearing out the favelas and everything like that. It's going to be black people getting moved out, and the thing is, Nige, you can either accept it or not, but we're at the bottom of the pole in every single standing when it comes to the way that we're treated. Like I say, you talk about how does that have a social aspect, and that if you're charged higher lending rates and given less opportunities to work, like I say, all right, and we're going back to the America in this one last instance, but like I say, if you're from certain areas,
no man, focus on the UK for now, because
No,
I want to know what
it's the same in the UK. Believe me, it's the same in the UK.
But the thing is, this is what I'm saying to you. I can't align my experiences with America. I'm in America. I'm in the UK. I want to know what is the change. What is the change that we want in the UK?
Because it's the same. It's the same thing. The social aspects, like I say, I was explaining about education and that charging higher rates, and that it wasn't based on people's credit rating. That's you know, that not ridiculous from you, but that's ridiculous to assume that, because, like I say, Wayne compared to me is going to have a different credit rating.
I used to work in a bank. I can tell you for a fact that if you've got worse credit than someone else, you will pay more for your loan.
Of course you will. Of course you will. But you shouldn't have to pay more for your loan.
Whether you're black or white or whatever. I mean, obviously that's different. But that okay. What, you know? How many black people has that affected?
We don't know. Well, judging by there's no fact that black people own stuff, probably a lot. We can't.
But then why don't black people own stuff? How can the Polish come to this country and set up shops up and down Soho?
Yeah, because it's easy for them, and they have. You know, they have set up business, how do you say? Set up plans so they can get an easier pathway into success, like their business. We don't have that. We've never had that.
What do you mean? I have no. Explain that. What do you mean? I have set up?
I read somewhere. I can't remember. I don't want to. I can't regurgitate the facts at the moment because I can't remember exactly. But I'm going to try and find the article for a future show.
Mate,
I read that Polish people.
When our people came to this country, right, in the 60s, they had the same opportunity as the Indian man.
Wait. You know that fact. Jamaican people were put all into the small poorest areas and said, "Okay, put them all there together." They didn't scatter everybody.
Where do you think the Indians were put?
Probably the same area you guys.
Exactly as the Jamaicans, they had the same opportunity. Yeah, but I think to build businesses, to lay down foundation. Mate, they were getting called worse names than us in some instances, set on fire and all kinds of things.
I don't know. No, man. Something doesn't sit right with that, man, because like I can't articulate what I want to say, but trust me, I'm gonna come back to you on that one, because I don't think it was like that. Because like I said, you know from your dad and your parents how hard it was being here, like in England in the 60s and the 70s.
Listen, I would say again that comes down to further social breakdowns. Like I say, like this is when you get into like the actual roots of the problem when we talk about that, because without stereotyping too much, your typical Indian family that I grew up with tend to be stick together, and it wouldn't even just be mum and dad. Exactly. They'd have the grandparents as well, and there's a lot of tradition that's passed down through Asian families in the way you handle education, for instance. The way that you're respectful to your parents is different. You know, we were lucky if we had two parents at home, so even with the same, you know, we give. Is that the government's fault? Please.
Is that the system's fault?
Can I finish my point? So
that is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, so carry on.
Man, I lost it, and it was a really important point, man.
Anyway, what I would say is, like he says, I think Asian people had a more solid foundation. When they came across as a unit. We came across as lone wolves, and we were scattered quite a lot.
Hey, check your history, man.
Dude, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back at it. I'm gonna come back for you, man. I promise you.
Listen to me. You see, when the Polish guys come here, they don't come here with their wives today. They come here on their own.
They come as a unit too. Polish people look after each other. When was the last time you saw black people stick together? Did they stick together when they were younger? They didn't stick together, man.
To be fair, mate. To be fair, I'd say they actually did.
In the UK,
when racism was rife in the UK, I would say that black people were more together than they have been. I mean, obviously not now, but at any other time. You had partners, you had people putting money in to go and invest in properties together. You had people building. I don't know when it all changed, but
it never happened.
Think about it, as
Those are
a
isolated cases.
community, don't be stupid. As a community, they came here and they had to share 5 houses. You had, my granddad, when he came here, he didn't come here with his wife, come here with his brother. They had to share a house with 4 other guys and they put down money. And then when they had some money, one got a deposit on the house and then they all lived there and then they all saved. And when they had some money, one put another deposit on the house. They was doing all that. They was doing all that thing. They was putting down foundations. So what went wrong? You're talking about single parent families. Is that society? Is that the system's fault? Or is that because the man hasn't got the responsibility to say, I got kids, let me stay here?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Look at that. Look at our dad. You know what I'm saying? He was here, there, and bloody everywhere. But I'm telling you now, if we'd have been brought up by him, we're more educated than our dad ever was. So what could he have showed us anyway?
I don't know, man. I feel like there's gaps in my life which could have been a father figure would have been useful. Even if he wasn't the smartest guy, it would. I still
possibly. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, like I said, I do feel like that. If a father figure was there, man, there's some stuff. Maybe if I had that little bit of encouragement, maybe it would have been that encouragement that I needed. You know what I mean? To finish that exam, to finish that course or something.
No, you know, my dad called me a wanker once, for no reason. Some guy turned up to sell us a Hoover. He said to the guy, "I don't talk to this wanker." That was our dad, man.
Great guy.
So
man.
you like I'm saying, what are you searching? Whatever you were searching for, you was never going to get from him. You've already got it. You surpass the level of what he would have done because you've got your family and you're there for them.
Yeah.
You know
Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up, man, and we're gonna continue this next week or something, man. I'm gonna come back at you, innit? I'm gonna come back at you. Expect me.
Come back, man.
Yo,
come
expect
back,
me. Yo, when I start watch, I'm coming back. I'm coming for you, man.
All I want to know is what is the end goal. I don't care about all the flipping flack. I want to hear what's the solution.
We're coming back, man. We're coming back. Anyway, anyone's got any last words? You got any last words?
Nah, just to let people know, I'll set up a new group on Facebook called Have You Say, which I'm encouraging people.
Was that your group? All right.
Encourage
I thought you've done another one with people who were someone being scammed or something, or
no. This was basically, like when we had lockdown and that, we had groups that used to expose the people out there who were going on too bad in shops and everything.
Oh yeah.
This one is about This is about racial injustice. So basically, what we're saying is, look, when we're getting having your nasty comments upon Facebook, racist comments, then basically we want you to basically post these comments into the group. And then basically we're going to try and re-educate these people and talk to them and reach out. You know what I mean?
Militant!
Yeah. So actually, to be honest, I want to read something to you. Can I just do this before I go? Actually, Ray.
All right.
We did receive. We did have some comment from a guy who was talking about look at the chimps down at the clock tower.
Yeah.
Which went down. We didn't go down very, very well at all. I decided to take the issue up personally and spoke to the employer of this person, and we got a statement back from them. So I just wanted to quickly read that as well. So it says, yesterday we were made aware of a post on social media by a member of staff, and to the reactions that followed it. The post in question concerned the recent demonstrations in support of Black Lives Matter at the Clock Tower in Leicester. This incident has inevitably called into question the ethics of our business and by extension of those that work here. For any avoidance of doubt, as a multicultural company in a proudly multicultural city, we recognise the Black Lives Matter movement as a profoundly important issue that deserves respect. Our position on equal opportunities and discrimination in any form has always been clear contractually for our staff, and so we have taken the matter extremely seriously and dealt with it through the appropriate and legal processes required. Consequently, that member of staff has now left our employment as of Monday. Having also reflected on this event and the wider issue raised by Black Lives Matter movement, we will also be investing in deeper training provision that focus on equality in all its forms, since we appreciate it is a privilege to have the opportunity to be educated about prejudice rather than experience it. So this is what happens. That's one result, one person, not one person, but I guess a lot of people who was outraged by that, changing it because that person was let go before I made contact today. So that company has obviously dealt with it, and I'm not going to name the company, but I spoke to, I think, one of the directors, and he didn't seem to seemed particularly interested in speaking to me about it. But having spoke to this person here now, I feel like that's a satisfactory resolution, or is the best we're going to get. Whether it's genuine or not, we'll never know.
But remember, if everyone sees these races,
But
they will be like, "Oh, nah, I'm not doing that, man." So I can't say nothing, and that's half the battle already won.
yeah, but the thing is, okay, you've got a result. The guy's been sacked. Have you changed his mind?
Maybe he'll think about it when, while he's looking for a job.
Think about it next time, or maybe I shouldn't say that stuff next time.
No, like I say, maybe he'll think about it while he's looking for a job, because if that man, I'm not going to, this is the point where now I would have felt guilty maybe a few years ago, a man's lost his job. Now I don't business. The man shouldn't be sprouting racist stuff and referring to people as chimps. And when he goes out and does that, and he's being that racially provocative.
Oh, mate, you've done the right thing, man. Fair play to you.
Then,
I ain't. Fair play to you.
Yeah. Well, not even just me, because obviously this was actually spreaded in a group as well called Spotted Leicester, where people are calling out things like this. But that's why I set up that group. But I also, lastly, just set up that other group to say, have your say. And this can literally be about anything. This could be, you want to recite some poetry, you want to wish, just spread some positivity. You might want to talk about a story that's in the news. You might want to show off a skill. You want anything. Just literally up maximum 10 minutes video, quality media. Have you say what you got to say, show us, and we'll just set that up. And I'm leaving that as it is, and we'll see what happens with that.
Great stuff. So,
I need to get my light. I need to get my light box in here, man. Look how dark it's gone. I can't hardly see me, man. You tell you're a black man. Hey, Nigel, smile, man.
I was gonna say that I can smile. Now I can pull out the jokes for you, dude.
Hey, the old jokes are the best.
Right, listen, I think what's going on with my computer? My computer's trying to do something. It wants to restart. Right.
Little update. Good show. Take care of yourself. Look me up at Love Sales Hate Selling. Program starting at the end of June. Last Friday in June. That's the program. 8 modules, 4 weeks, lots of pressure. Or the crash course, which is on the Wednesday before. Look out for me. Follow me on YouTube. Nigel Campbell. Yeah, man. There.
Yeah.
All right, and I will just wrap up by saying, tune in next week. We got Nijiana Smalls on. She wrote the book, The Black Girl's Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds. And yeah, man, stay tuned. We've still got loads to talk about. You can see I'm coming back for Nigel. I'm coming back for him, man. He ain't going
send me the link to her book so I can have a look at some.
Yeah, I'm gonna bury him. Yeah, so look out for that. I'm gonna bury him. Look out for next week.
How are you gonna bury me, man?
I'm coming.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, man, guys. Have a good night, man. We'll talk tomorrow, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, not tomorrow. Next week.
Yeah, man.
Uppercut. Ayukan.
Yeah. All right. See you in a bit, man. See you in a bit.
Man.